Hello, everybody. Black Celt here. This is my first video I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about a little bit about myself. First, why the name Black Celt? I'm not black. You're thinking, oh, that's a little bit racist. Well, is it? It's not. I'll tell you why. So, my last name is Irish, and it comes from the Irish surname of Udubla. If I'm saying that wrong, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Google. Google's the one who told me how to say it. So if it's wrong, I apologize. But the surname Udubla comes from Dub. Meaning is a Gaelic word for black or dark. So dark, and it is a Gaelic Celtic name. So the Black Celt. Makes sense now? Okay. I'm a little obsessed with Ireland and the Celts. A lot of people don't give them as much credit as they're due. You know how many people don't realize how much they use that is actually Celtic in origin. And for you Boston people, you saying it wrong? No, I'm not. You're saying it wrong, Boston. Just so you know. So firstly, I'm going to talk about, I was going to talk about myself. I come from a family of 5. Well, this is 5 kids. I'm the youngest out of the 5. I'm also, I'm the best looking and the smartest, A little humor in there too. Anyway, what else was I saying? Oh, yes. We grew up in the same city our life. I had a bit of a traumatic childhood. Secondly, I love music. Again, Celtic music. I love to read. I like to do things with my hands. I have many things that I want to do with my life, but I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, or which one's going to be the one I'm going to do. I thought it'd be cool to be a blacksmith. I thought it'd be cool to, I wanted to be a teacher. I still want to be a teacher, probably the most, but part of me feels like I wouldn't be any good at that, even though I wanted to do that and make a difference. I'm fairly laid back. I'm fairly easygoing. There's a few things which I will discuss that I care passionately about in this series. So let's get to it. Let's start with the Celts, okay? A lot of people don't realize things they have or do is of Celtic origin. We'll start with chainmail. A lot of people think it was the Vikings who invented chainmail. In fact, I found a book in the library that said the Vikings wore chainmail, swords, horned helmets, all that. Lies. And they had a superior fighting style. 2 things are true about the Vikings that people don't realize that are true. So a lot of people think the Vikings wore horned helmets, and they had chainmail, and they had all this stuff. I'm sure they had chainmail. I'm not saying they didn't, but they didn't invent chainmail. The Vikings did not wear horned helmets. sure they had a superior fighting style. They also had the ships. That was the only big thing they excelled at, was their longboats. Firstly, who invented the chainmail? It was the Celts. The Celts invented chainmail. A lot of people think the Celts were savage, barbarian idiots, but they are actually very intelligent. They invented chainmail. They invented better quality war chariots. So you know that episode of Deadliest Warriors with the Celts fight the what was it? Omelette? Yeah, I'm saying that wrong. Omelette Empire Warrior. Omelette. What, you know what I'm talking about? Brain can't work today, so that episode was wrong. They have no armor and javelins. Where in the heck did they get that idea that the Celts use javelins? Anyway, and a cheap wooden chariot. Not true. They wore armor. They were the first actually to invent. They invented the chainmail. They were the first to put metal plating on their chainmail. They were also one of the first to invent an iron sword. They were also they invented a superior chariot with spikes on the side. So you switch those two chariots around, that's what you get. They had different techniques of scare tactics. The reason why they were so fierce and seemed barbaric is because of their fighting style. They would put lime in their hair to bleach it white to scare the Romans, is the main people they fought. Even in their height, because they captured Rome back I think it was like 50 years, or some odd years before the first Celtic Empire, the first Roman Empire. Sorry. Secondly, Julius Caesar described them best. A lot of times, the Celts didn't fight as a one; they fought in tribes, and one tribe could do a lot of damage. Now, gotta get to work. Sorry. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that the ancient Celts were fierce, intelligent warriors. People think they were barbarians, and their fighting style was considered very barbaric. However, they weren't barbaric in the sense of the definition, because they had society, they had cultures, they had equal rights before most of Europe. I mean, most men prefer the women to actually train them to battle. And a lot of the women were in battle with the men. In fact, from what I've read, the women also, were commanders. I'm sure there were a lot of women that did the housework and, cleaned and took care of the children, because, but a lot of the men did it too. Why'd you do that? Stupid. Alright. I cut that out. Also, they believed in. It wasn't uncommon for some of them to be a little bit homosexual too. It's perfectly okay. And how I think how society, just people think that that started at this time, but I think we've had evidence through history of that not always being the case. What else was I gonna say? Yes. I also found this funny. This was funny. So in Thor Ragnarok, the movie Thor Ragnarok, when Hela is talking to the one guy in the treasure room, and she grabs the eternal flame and she puts a hole into the ground, and she jumps, does a backflip down into the burial chamber. Well, you see the symbol on the floor of that burial chamber is not Norse. A lot of people put these knots as Norse. I'm sure some of them were, but most of them were Celtic. And that particular symbol was the Irish Trinity knot, the Celtic Irish Trinity knot, and what it represented, what the Trinity knot represents, is the three deities, the three Godhead, God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost, and the circle going through it represents the world. And I thought that was funny that they put that in Thor, because it represents a Christian symbol. It's a Christian. It's a Christian symbol, and a lot of people just throw these cool designs in random places, and people don't even realize, oh, that's from that culture. I mean, I remember seeing a blanket somewhere, and it's like, oh, that's really pretty, it's really nice, but yeah, I got it at a flea market. It's Celtic design. And this video is stupid. Okay.